All right, good morning, everybody. So we're just going to start nice deep breath in and then out. Good, and keep going. So do a few more breaths. I got to remember to try to do my watch. Good, big breath in. I always have a couple of days where I just don't feel like I forget it downstairs and I don't feel like grabbing it. So that's kind of the joke. If your workout doesn't get recorded by your watch, does it count? Yes, it counts. Big breath. All right, and we're just going to bring the arms out in front. We're just going to do nice, good open and close swings. So we're going to do a workout like we did last week, if you were here last week. So a little bit of stuff on the floor. We're going to be doing shoulders. We're going to be doing hips. And remember, for some of these exercises, feel free to modify by using a chair, sitting in a chair, like when we do 90-90s. Or, when we're doing world's greatest stretch, sometimes it's easier to be against a wall or using a chair for support. Good. All right, bring it in, and we're going to tap it to the side, and we're going to kind of swing those arms across the front. So when we do like our scapular push-ups, where we have our hands on the floor, you can do them with your hands against a wall. It'll take a little pressure off of your wrists, but it's still going to get you a similar exercise. So always remember that you can modify as needed. Good, 2 more, 2. Now we're going to reach it up and overhead, a little bit of a side bend. I've definitely been a little stiffer up in my upper back personally. So this feels really, really good today. And sometimes when you're feeling a little stiff and a little sore, all you need to do is get up and move around a little bit. Good, 2, 1, bring it in. We're going to take our arms out, thumbs pointing to the ceiling, and we're just going to start with shoulder circles. Good, let's change direction. So our shoulder blades are down and back in our back pocket, and we're just straight arm moving those shoulders in that socket. Good, bring it in, little shake out. Hips stay in the center, and we're gonna add in a little side bend. So this one, we're not pushing our hips out. We're keeping our hips nice and neutral. Good, this side feels tight. The other side doesn't feel bad. Good, last one. All right, bring it into the center, and we're gonna take our right leg out, and we're just gonna do hip circles. So just start to wake up those hips a little bit. I think about pulling my toe up to the ceiling, heel pointing to the ground. Good, let's change direction. And this is one, if you need to hold on to something, you can. 4, 3, 2, 1. Switching over to the other leg again. Pull the toe up, heel down towards the ground. All the movement is coming from your hips. So this is your spoon, and you're stirring the batter in the bowl. Good, change direction. There's a lot of times like I come home or my roommate comes home from going grocery shopping. Good, bring it in, and let's do our leg swings front to back. And I'll come home and there'll be a box of brownie mix sitting on the island. And that's usually a sign that he would like me to make brownies. So I usually know that's kind of my plan for the day, is to quick make up brownies. I just like it. There's this little sign, it's just like, there's just a little brownie box there. It's like, okay, somebody wants brownies. Good, bring it in and switch. So front to back. And I can't say it's not that complicated. It's oil, water, and eggs. So making brownies is not a big deal, but it's just kind of funny. Good. Hold your balance. Good. 3, 2, 1. Bring it in. All right, now we're going to take the leg out and in, and this is one where I really just kind of let it go. Just let it swing. And then if you can, bring it across the front a little bit. And then if you can, this is one where if you can make bigger swings or do bigger swings, go for it. If you've had especially a recent hip replacement, you don't want to go too far past the midline of the body. But if you can, otherwise, good swings. 2, 1, bring it in. Same thing on the other side. And this is just swinging. We're not going too crazy, but then if you can, cross in front a little bit. And then if you can do a bigger cross. This one, I just step back away from the wall so I have just enough room for my foot or my leg to cross in front without kicking something. Good. 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Bring it in the center. We're going to take our toes pointing forwards, feet hip width apart, and we're just going to do nice, good hip circles. And this is a good warm-up for anything. Good. Change direction. So this is a good warm-up before you go for a walk, before you strength train, before you do some cardio. Good. Now we're going to turn it out a little duck foot. And we're going to do the same thing. This is a really good test to see how your hips are feeling. Good. Change direction. So is it more uncomfortable when you're duck-footed or pigeon-toed? Good. Bring it in. And it doesn't have to be, a big turn in. I just want you to kind of turn those hips in a little. And remember, the movement comes from the hip, so we don't want knees forward and feet in. It's the entire hip, the entire leg kind of turns in. So for me, I feel it's tighter over here when I pigeon toe. Good. Change direction. So it just lets me know that this hip is doesn't like to rotate in. I need to work on some internal rotation and some stretching of that outer hip. Good. Let's take those legs wide, and we're just going to do a couple to the right and a couple to the left. And we're not going into a super deep stretch here. We're just kind of waking up those hips a little bit, and it's not like a crazy bounce. Just couple leans, couple hinges, and then over. So just a little pulse. So pulse, 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 pulse. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Keeping a nice wide stance. This is our forward fold. This is our front, middle, and back. So this is our front, middle, and reach. Front, middle, and reach. And this is the one I want you to make sure that we're not rounding our back like this, and that we're not bending our knees just to get down to the floor. So this is a little bit of hamstrings, nice neutral spine. And if you're really tight in the hamstrings, you're going to be really high. You're not going to be touching the floor. And that's okay. I have to really warm up before I can get that far down. Good. Couple more. Front, middle, and back. And again, front, middle, and back. We're going to bring it up, arms out, and we're going to side lunge, reach for the foot, side lunge, reach for the foot. This is another one. You might be reaching for your knee, and that's okay. The goal is to think about taking one shoulder towards the opposite leg and then reaching that back shoulder towards the ceiling. So you can even keep it in the center if your legs aren't feeling it today. But it's just a little rotation. Good. And here's 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it in. We're going to step it back into a plank, or you can have your hands on a chair. So we're going to be plank, lift up into down dog, and then back to plank. So down dog and plank. Now, if you want to make it a little more challenging, plank, and then we down dog, and can we take a hand and reach for the shin or the toe of that opposite leg. So a little bit more stability here. If you're not feeling that today, keep both hands on the ground and you're good. Here's 2 and 1. Good. We're going to carefully bring ourselves back up. Roll the shoulders up, back and down into your back pocket. Grab a quick drink. And we're going to start with just some quick shoulder cars, big shoulder circles. And then we're going to go down to the floor on our backs. If you don't want to go down to the floor and be on your back, you can have your back against a wall. So that is an option as well. Right hand, we're going to do shoulder cars, which are called controlled articular rotations. All that is a really big circle. But we're going to do thumb up, bring it in, rotate, pinky, and then take it down. Good. So it's thumb up, rotate, and pinky down. If you are really tight, you might be here. That's okay. Up and around. I have a tendency to bring it up and to turn my entire body to make the big circle. We don't want to do the whole body. We just want to try to get that full shoulder range of motion. Sometimes for me it helps to have my hand on my chest. Good. Now we're going to take it back, so it's going to be thumb and then circle around. So you start kind of do pinky back, rotate, and then circle. So back, rotate, and circle. It's kind of in the opposite direction. Good. One more. And let's bring it in, shake it out. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So thumb pointing forwards until we get towards the ceiling. Then we rotate the pinky to come down. So open up and around. So a lot of times when we're dealing with issues, pain and discomfort with shoulders, sometimes it's just because we're tight. We lose that mobility. Sometimes it's because we have muscles that are stronger and weaker. So the stronger muscles kind of take over and the weaker muscles need to get a little bit of extra attention. Good. One more. All right, now we're going to change direction. So take it back and circle it around. And with our shoulders, a lot of times if you find that your spine is rounded up at the top a little bit and we have a little bit of a hunched forward posture, you're going to end up with shoulder discomfort because your spine is not giving the shoulder the room it needs to move. Good. One more time. All right, shake it out. Give yourself a little bit of a break. We're going to head down to the floor on our back. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring our arms out into goalpost, and we're going to go back and in for a few, and then we're going to go down and in for a few, and then we're going to do some snow angels. So let's go ahead and take it on the floor. Again, you can have your back against a wall. That's okay. You're going to have your feet a little bit away from that wall so that your low back stays glued. But we're going to take our arms straight out. So they can be down a little bit, but we don't want them way high. So straight line, shoulder to elbow. We're going to pull our low back into the floor, and we're just going to think about rotating from the shoulder, trying to get the backs of the hands flat to the floor, and then bring it up again. So we're going to try to take it back and up. The hard part for this one, and for both of these really, is we don't want to bend our wrists to touch our fingers to the floor. We don't want to pop our shoulders up by our ears. We want to try to keep them, the shoulder blades down and back, and our shoulders relaxed. If you're really tight, you might stop here and then come back up. So it's trying to find a range of motion that works for you. Like, I'm doing pretty good on my right arm, but my left arm is a little bit tighter, and I can feel that, and it doesn't want to relax quite as much. So it's not uncommon to have one side that's looser and one side that you're going to struggle with a little bit. Good. Now we're going to go the other direction. So we're going to start in the middle and we're going to try to drop our hands towards the floor. So up and then drop. Up and drop. And we still don't want to do a huge shoulder rotate, pop it off of the floor. We just want to find that range of motion, go forward and come back in. So this one, your shoulder is going to kind of turn a little bit. And again, you could see, maybe you can't see, I am not getting to the floor. I've got a ways to go, so it's all good. Good, bring it in. We're gonna take the backs of the hands to the floor, pull the belly in, we're gonna go W, and then trying to keep our hands on the floor, we're gonna bring our arms up into a nice good V, W, and V. So pull it down and then reach it up. Now you might find that you come down and then you get to here and all of a sudden your hands and elbows are doing strange things. Just down and then good reach. Good. Last one. All right, bring it in. We're going to roll over onto our tummies. And this is one, if you need to, you can put something underneath your forehead like a pillow. So we're going to come all the way down, neutral spine and neck. We're going to take our hands out kind of over our head in the letter I. Lift them up a little, we're gonna hover, and we're gonna take the arms out to the side. When we get to the letter T, we're gonna rotate the palms facing to the ceiling, and we're gonna bring our thumbs to our hips. Take it out, letter T, rotate, palms down, bring it back around to the front. So out to the side, rotate and hips, out to the side, and then back overhead. Good, so reach, and reach. Now to make it harder, you can lift your arms and try to keep them the same distance off of the floor. So you start with your hands on the floor and touching. Then you bring it up, hover, and then around. And then you lift them up a little bit higher and rotate. Final option, we take it, we reach for the low back, we bring it in, reach behind the head. So this one is a lot more challenging than you might think it is. Don't force yourself to go to the hard part if you're still struggling a little bit with the beginner or intermediate or the low intensity, medium intensity. Good, we're gonna do one more, but remember to always rest when you need to. Good, bring it in. Sit the hips back. We're gonna stretch it out into a little bit of a child's pose. Now we're gonna get ready to do scapular push-ups and to get our shoulder rolls in. So this is one, again, on the floor or hands against a wall, straight out in front of you. Hands and knees. Think about straight elbows, belly button pulled in, shoulder blades away from your ears. And we're just gonna squeeze the shoulders together, and then we're going to push the shoulders away. So squeeze, and then push. What we're trying to do is disengage our shoulders and our elbows. So a lot of times, instead of moving with our shoulders, we move with our elbows. So I want you to keep the elbows straight. Just the shoulder blades are moving. And then also think the core is staying nice and controlled. I'm notorious for squeezing my shoulders together and arching my low back, especially when I squeeze the shoulder blades together. Good, one more. Good. Now give yourself a little bit of a break, and we're going to go for our shoulder rolls. So this is the one, again, elbow straight. We're going to squeeze the shoulders together, take the shoulders up by our ears, push the floor away, pull the shoulders into your back pocket. So squeeze, up, away, and down. And when you start to feel a little more comfortable, a little more confident, we start to really focus on those muscles in a good circle. One more, good. A little bit of a rest, give the wrists a break. We're gonna go the other direction. Belly in, elbow straight, squeeze the shoulders, pull the shoulders down away from the ears, push the floor away, kind of shrug them up. So squeeze, down, away, and up. Squeeze, down, away, and up. And then we start to do our nice, good backward rolls. And as we do this, really think about pulling away from the ears. Get that lower part of your back, lower mid-back working. Last one. Good. Bring it in. Sit the hips back to the heels. Circle those wrists. We're going to come back up to standing. And we're going to do our shoulder dislocates and our band pull-aparts. If you have a band, great. If you don't, that's okay too. You can use a yoga strap. I always tell people start wide. Start wide, wide, wide. That's going to make it a lot easier for you. So palms down, shoulders away from the ears, start wide. Bring the arms up. Go as far as you can before you have to start doing weird things, and then come back around again. So all the way up, and then bring it back around. You want to go until you feel a little stretch right in the front of the shoulders. I can bring it all the way around if my arms are really wide. If I start bringing them in too close together, it doesn't work well. What we want to try to avoid, coming up and then doing weird things like we're drying ourselves off. And if you have issues with your shoulders, surgeries, injuries, things like that, you're going to have one shoulder that's going to struggle a little bit. But you want to try to bring it all the way up and around, straight arms. Good. I'm going to bring my arms in just a little bit. So this is when you start wide. Once you can go all the way around with the wide hands, you can start to bring the arms in a little closer together, but just don't go too crazy. So a goal is to do like 10 of these, and you can do them every day, but if you can get them in a couple, 3 times a week, this is a really good place to start. I am going to do one more. So up, around, and back. Good. Shake it out. We're going to take our hands out. We're going to do palms facing up. And again, this is one, start wider, start with a lighter band. Left arm is locked in, right arm, I want you to think about taking the hand back and open. So if you can, I do want you to do this one with your palm facing the ceiling versus your palm facing the floor. It opens up that shoulder, which is where a lot of people tend to struggle. Good. I'm going to do 4 more because we all know that I can't count. Good. Bring it in, a little bit of a shakeout. This band is probably a little tight for me for this exercise, but right arm locked in, here we go. So we're going to take arm out and in. Try to keep it parallel to the floor. We don't want to let it drop. We want to take it straight back. Good. 3, 2, 1. Bring it in, arms down. Definitely feeling my arms burning today. Now we're going to do 10 with both arms, and then we're going to go to our hips. Good. So bring it up. 10. Good. 4 more. Shoulders away from the ears. 3, 2, 1. Bring it in. Set that band down. Walk around, shake it out, give the shoulders a break. All right, we're gonna go for our hips. We're gonna do our 90-90s, and we're gonna do our pigeon. If you don't wanna do this one on the floor, sit in a chair. So you're gonna sit in a chair. You'll be towards the front of the chair, and instead of hands by your hips on the floor, hands are gonna be by your hips right here on the seat of the chair. But we're just gonna start 90-90 going side to side. So rotate and rotate. So you can start with your hands by your hips, and then as you feel more comfortable, then you start to take the hands off of the floor, but notice I'm not rounding in the middle. I am getting a little clicky in this hip today, which kind of doesn't surprise me. Personally, I'm a little stiff today. So whenever we're doing a workout in mobility, keep that in mind. Your body is going to change from day to day. It's not always going to feel amazing. That's why we do stuff like this. Good. Now we're going to take it all the way over to the right. Open up that front leg into 90-90 as much as you can. Back leg, you can bend it if you need to. And we're going to hinge and fold forwards right across the middle of our shin. So just a nice good stretch. If you are staying up today and you are stretching, you can sit and you're going to do a gentleman's stretch. Okay, so you're going to try to cross your ankle over your thigh while you're sitting in a chair. All right, bring it up. Now we're going to take our hand, place it against our foot. Your other hand is very gently going to press the inner thigh out. So as you're pressing out, I want you to push your foot into your hand while your hand presses back. So a little forward fold, but we're pressing the hand into the foot into the hand, and then gently pressing out on that thigh. Good, relax. We're going to do that one more time. So gently press out on the inner thigh, and we're going to press the foot into the hand. You don't have to force that inner thigh or that thigh to go to the floor. You might be kind of tight, but you can still get in a good stretch. You don't want to feel pain. We just want to feel that little bit of stretching, a little bit of pressure. Good, bring it up, switch it over to the other side. So same thing, bend the back knee as needed, front leg, we're just going to hinge, and we're going to try to take our chest over the center of our calf, right in the middle of our shin. And every time we exhale, can we relax just a little bit? Let's bring it up. We're going to take that hand on that inner thigh, gently press it down, palm on the bottom of your foot, and we're going to press that foot into our hand. And let's bring it up and relax. And we're going to do that one more time. So gently press out on that thigh, press that foot into the hand. In 3, 2, 1. Good. We're going to bring it in. We're going to go to 90-90 on the other side. Bend the front leg as necessary. Back leg can be bent a little bit too. Hand is going to be by your hip. We're going to do our knee lift and our rotate. So we're going to do knee lift, set it down, rotate the hip in and down. So rotate out, bring it up, rotate in. If you can do this without holding on, great. This one's hard to do. The hard part, especially on the internal rotation, is to not just lean forwards to get your leg up there. We're trying to use those muscles. And remember, the way your body is made, your internal rotation is not going to be very high. It's because our body just doesn't go that way. But you still want to do it the best you can. If you need to lean back a little farther just to get some movement, that's okay. Everybody's a little different. Good. Let's switch it over to the other side. Same thing. So we're just going to lift and down and then rotate and down. So lift And this is one of those ones that I struggle with, and I don't know if I'm ever going to get better. It's just taking a really long time. But for doing them once a week or so, once or twice a week, there's definitely improvement. Good, one more. So lift and down, and then lift and down. Good, we're gonna go on to our hands and knees, and we're gonna do our hip circles. You can do this standing, but I want you to hold on to a chair or have your side against a wall. But good hands and knees, brace your core. We're going to do knee to elbow, fire hydrant, rotate, circle it in and down, and then change direction, donkey kick, fire hydrant, and in. So we're bringing it up, out, rotate, and bring it around, then donkey kick, out, and in. Keep going. If you need to stand, this is what we're doing. We're just going to do a standing thing. We've done these before. And circle it around. So up, open, rotate. And the hard part for this one, especially when we take the leg out, is we want to lean. We want to lean. I want you to think straight. Don't let the body rotate. Don't let the body lean. Only the hip is rotating. Good, one more time. And I know you probably didn't hear that, but my SI joint just popped. Good. And back, out, and around. Good. Shake it out. Give your knees a break. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. So good position. And we're going to bring knee forward, out, rotate, and in, and then donkey kick, out, and around. So forward, fire hydrant, rotate as we circle, donkey kick, circle, around. This is a hip CAR, which is the hip controlled articular rotations, which just means we are trying to rotate our hip through its full range of motion, which, like the shoulder, is kind of a 360. Our hips and our shoulders are the two most mobile joints in our body, which tends to be why they are the two that also get injured the most frequently. Up, out, rotate, in. Good, one more time each direction. All right, bring it in. You can sit your hips back to your heels. Give them a little bit of a break. We're going to go back to our hands and knees. We're going to do our adductor rockbacks. So your toe is going to be about in line with your knee. Try to have your toe pointing forwards, and then try to have it flat on the floor. If you're wearing shoes, that's going to be a lot more of a challenge. This leg is straight, spine is neutral. Rock back and rock forwards. I'm keeping my forehead and my chest away from the floor so I'm not rounding like I would if I was going to do a child's pose. This is all inner thigh work stretching here. A little mobility. And I know that on this leg it feels normal. It doesn't feel too bad. I know when I switch to my other leg it's going to feel tighter. Good. Bring it in and we're going to switch. So again, we're taking that foot out, toe in line with your hip. We're going to rock back and rock forwards. So this one, it still feels okay, but it definitely feels much tighter than the other side. So that means that this is the side where I need to work on a little bit of inner thigh stretching. And the other leg that felt good, I need to work on my outer thigh stretching. But I also need to work on strengthening the muscles too. Good, one more. All right, bring it in. We're gonna sit on our buns. And again, you can do this one sitting in a chair. You're going to sit to the front and you're going to keep your right leg straight while your left leg is going to be bent. So if you're sitting, your other leg will be bent. Hands by the hips. Sit as tall as you can. Lift from your hip up and down. So we're just going to sit tall here and down. If you're really tight, you might have to lean back to keep a nice tall posture. And leaning back is going to be easier. Sitting upright is going to be harder. And then this is one that I'm not sure even I can do right now, is leaning forwards. The farther forward you go, the harder it's going to be. Lift. So I'm staying right here. Good, one more. All right, shake it out a little if you need to. We're going to switch legs. Again, starting back here if you need to. If you can lift your leg pretty high, leaning back, keeping the knees straight, then I want you to walk it forward just a little bit, sit a little bit straighter. You'll notice that you're not going to go as high anymore and it's a little harder. And again, you can just sit up nice and tall. Try not to hold on. Good, and then a little farther forward. It's going to be a lot harder. I'm getting a little more quad, it feels like here. Two more. 2 and 1. All right, bring it in. A little bit of a shakeout. We're going to roll onto our side. We're going to do some open books. We're going to do open books. So we're getting a little bit of shoulder, a little bit of hip here. Lie on your side. You're going to stack your hips and your knees so there's a straight line right here. We don't want to let the hip open back behind us, so it's behind. Nice stacked position. Bottom hand, grab the thighs. Knees are in line with your belly button. We're going to start just nice, good open book. So we're going to take it forward. And as we exhale, we're going to open the knees, or open the torso. Knees get pulled into the floor. Torso is going to open back behind us. Then we're going to bring it forward again. And then we're going to open. So we're just opening and closing our book. But the challenge here is to pull the knees into the floor. A lot of times when we open our book, all of a sudden our hips shift back and our knees separate. And I want you to keep them together. I can tell we haven't done these ones in a while because I am definitely a little tight here. Good, bring it in. Same position. If you can, rest your head on the floor or maybe even on a pillow, or you might have to hold it in place. Your top hand, you're going to reach the fingers out and we're going to draw a nice good rainbow. And try to bring it all the way around, trying to keep the fingers on the floor. Now that tends to get really tricky right about here as we finish our circle. Good, we're going to do one more. All right, your top leg is going to stay where it is. Your bottom leg, you're going to open it back behind you. You're going to try to keep your top knee on the floor. Your top hand, I want you to reach for that bottom foot, and I want you to try to take that top shoulder and open it back behind you. You look a little bit, they call it the bretzel, and it's